People have been asking me how I like to cook my trout, and by far my favorite is to smoke it. Get the trout. First we're going to fillet it. To fillet it, you need a sharp fillet knife. So to start, you go behind the gill plate and run the knife down along the back all the way to the tail. It's a little tricky right here at this fin. Just want to make sure you stay on that side of it. And then when you get down to here, stay on that side of both those fins. And then go to the tail. You want to make sure you're staying pretty close to the backbone. Leave a little bit of room at the end so that you can use the fish to hold the tail for you. And then you just okay, and you have a nice fillet like that. You go ahead and cut the fins off. Cut that off. There you go. And you have a nice slab to put in the smoker. And you want to put it in a container or something that will go with the brine. So you got the one side, and let's flip it over and do it on the other. You also want a container to throw your spare leftover trout scales and skin, and you just go ahead and you do the other side. Uh-oh, messed that up. Now I don't have anything to hold on to it with. Oh, went a little too deep. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of practice. So the first ones were rainbows, these last three are cutthroats. Their meat should be oranger. These are, the other ones are plants, and these are native fish. Where we were fishing, you can keep them under 14 inches. If not, you gotta throw them back. Look at the color in that fillet. That's gonna be good. now we have a bunch of fillets ready for the brine. And we have the remains of the fish left. So now we got to figure out what we're going to do with these fish. So what I'm thinking is we're going to go ahead, cut them in half. A couple gallon size Ziploc bags. I'll be able to cut them all in one. Nice. You could also just throw this in the freezer so that it stays, or even the fridge, so it doesn't sit out in the garbage can and get stinky. There's that. Now it's time to clean up. Now we just got to make the brine. We'll get it mixed in with the fish. We'll let it sit overnight, and we'll throw it in the smoker in the morning. Next is the brine. I actually got this brine from a good friend of mine. And first we're going to start these 3 cups of water. And a 1/4 cup of salt. 1/3 cup of brown sugar. Cup of soy sauce. Half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Half a teaspoon of onion powder. Half a teaspoon of pepper. And half a teaspoon of Tabasco sauce. And 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now we're going to go ahead and mix it together, and we'll dump it in with our fillets. Just going to make sure it's dissolved as much as possible. Looks pretty good. Okay. Pour it in. Make sure it's all in there. Cover it up as much as we can. I've got this container that has a lid, so we can just go ahead and cover it. Now we're just going to let it soak overnight. The recipe calls for 8 to 12 hours, but we're going to go ahead and just do it overnight, and tomorrow morning we'll get it out and do the rest from there. We let the fillets sit overnight in the brine, and now what we need to do is we need to set them out for a couple of hours as they dry off, and what we want to do is let them get to where they're shiny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some parchment paper and just put them on that for now, and then I'm going to dab them with some paper towels to get the moisture off of them, and let them sit for a couple hours till they get a nice shine to them. They're dried on both sides before I throw them in the smoker. And this is actually an important step. I've kind of bypassed this in the past, and they don't turn out as well. So I've learned my lesson to go ahead and make sure and do it fully. So you have to be patient through this process, I've learned, and give it the time it needs for, you want a good shine on each one of the fillets and that they're dry on both sides. So this is one way to do it. I've done it other ways. This seems to work out. I don't know that it's all gonna fit on the paper, so I may need to use some more. I'm gonna go ahead and just let this sit for an hour and come back and check on it, and I may flip them. I'm not gonna use any paper towels right this moment so that the brine is just gonna dry on the outside of it. I think that'll increase the flavor. Just make sure. All right, we'll come back and check on it in an hour. All right, it's been a little over an hour. What I'm gonna do now is I got a new dry parchment paper. This has sticky wet stuff on it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and flip these and put them on the new stuff. Tell that this side's starting to dry, it grips pretty good to the paper. The other side's still wet. See, that's the look you're wanting to look for, right, or go for right there, is that shiny look. When you get both sides like that, we'll be ready to put it in the smoker. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get this done. When it's done drying out, we're gonna throw it in the smoker. And then, like I said, that'll be about 2 hours. All right, be back in about an hour. Okay, so the fish are almost ready. So I'm gonna get the racks out of the smoker and take them inside, put the fillets on the racks and bring them out here. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you my smoker, what kind I use, tell you a little bit about it. So I got the master built smoker at Cabela's. It's like 250 bucks. It has 8 racks. It's got a little spot right here where you can put the chips in. You just flip it, it dumps them in. You have the 8 racks. I'm gonna go ahead and just take them out, get them ready, show you where the water goes and where the chips end up. So the chips end up in the holder, and you want to fill up the tray with water up to the mark that it shows. I'm going to use some mesquite chips. I don't use that many. I'll show you how many I'm going to use, but I don't like to have an overpowering smoke flavor, so I just go ahead and just put a handful in there. You can use any chips, I think would be fine, but right now I have mesquite, so we're going to go ahead and use that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get all this ready, and we'll get the fillets on the racks and inside the smoker. All right, so one thing that you do, you can tell that they're ready to put on the racks or get ready to throw in the smokers. You just kind of test it. It's more sticky now. You can see that it's not super moist. It's a little bit, but these are right where we want them. So we're going to go ahead and just start putting them on the racks. All right, we got them on the racks. Now we're going to put them in the smoker. I just realized I said 8 racks. There's actually only 4. Not bad. Let's get them in. All right, we got the fish in, so now we want to add the chips. Just pull that out. Like I said, use a small handful. About that many right there of the mesquite. And with this smoker, you just put it in, flip it upside down, leave it. That goes inside the container for the chips that I showed you earlier. And now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna close it up. We're gonna set the time for 3.5 hours at 170 degrees, and we'll get it started. The time set, we got the temperature set, it's actually started. I'm gonna go ahead and just leave this closed, leave the venting closed all the way, and just let it smoke. We'll be back in 3.5 hours to check on it. I have a feeling that the smaller fillets, they'll probably be done, but we may have to give the bigger ones a little bit more time. We'll come back and check on it in 3.5 hours. Okay, it's been 3.5 hours. Let's check on the fillets and see if they're ready. Ooh, hot. I think they could use a little bit more time. Some of it looks ready. Oh, I'm gonna leave it in another half hour. Okay, we'll just give it another half hour and come back and check on it. Hey, it's been 30 minutes. Should be ready. I think we're gonna take them out and just put them on the counter and let them cool off. Yeah, they look good. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes now. I'm just kind of let them cool off. They look great. I'm gonna go ahead and taste it. Oh yeah, tastes amazing. To finish them off, I'm gonna put them in Ziploc bags, throw them in the fridge, and I'm gonna take these camping and out on the boat fishing this weekend. Anyway, if you like this video, if you want to try this recipe, please give us a like. That way it's easy to find when you want to go back and do it. But good luck fishing.
Okay. That's really good. Good job.
Thanks.